Bryan, good to see you. Welcome to the show, man.
How you doing? What a lovely energy.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta be excited. The movie's coming out soon. It's great. If we're not excited, what are we doing here, Ed? If we're not excited, let's be honest.
Exactly. Good. I like it.
It's interesting because I feel like from an acting storyteller perspective, there's a lot that happens before filming and a lot that happens during filming. So in a lot of ways, it's two separate journeys, maybe from an acting storytelling perspective, or does it feel like kind of one journey with many steps? I'm curious about that.
I think the latter probably. I think it's one journey with many steps. It's a process all the way through. I think interestingly with this one is because I basically went from Star Trek straight into You, and then I had about a week off from You, and then I went straight into Irish Wish. It's more how do you prep for those characters when you're still having to deliver a performance on something else, and how do you honour that time? But yeah, for me, it's the journey throughout the whole thing.
It's interesting you mentioned that because it's like not only those projects you mentioned, not only are they completely different worlds, you get to play the completely different characters. Is that one of the best things about being a storyteller and actor, like diving into the worlds, but diving into different characters as well?
Completely. I mean, fundamentally, that is what drives me more than anything, is trying to find new ways of working, new people to work on, new characters to be. And yeah, it's always, but I might have a similar, not formula, but similar way of working for each one once I've understood who these humans are. But yeah, it completely is what I am useless at being at home alone without working. I'm much better in a working environment because I thrive off that energy and that adrenaline and that exploration.
100%. In this film, people are going to see, there's a lot of photography involved with this film. So I wanted to kind of know, what was your interest or knowledge of, like, did you take a lot of photos, like, before this, or now are you kind of an expert? Do you and Lindsay have a scrapbook? Like, what can you tell me about the photography aspect of it?
I've always loved photography. I've always admired good photography. I would say out of the art forms, things in a way of things to look at, it's definitely something I've always been a big fan of. I'm a bit hit and miss. Sometimes I can take a good photo, sometimes I can't. It's something I've always wanted to get more invested in, and I wish. I'm not very good in the age of the selfie of taking, like, we sort of document everything. I'm not the greatest at that, and maybe I should be, but better. But yeah, photography is something I'm definitely interested in.
Do you remember the first time we were introduced the Instagram filters, and there wasn't even that many of them, and everyone lost their minds? Remember those days? Those days were a long time ago.
I know, the evolution, crazy.
It is. You look at a film like this, and there's kind of a lot of elements at play. And I'm curious because we love a lot of these, romantic comedies because we're so invested in who's going to end up with who and everything. Are you ever conscious of the audience member, watching a movie like this while you're making it, or does that kind of happen afterwards? Do you ever go and say, oh, people are going to love this relationship, people are going to love this, or does that kind of happen after you wrap?
It's an interesting one. I feel that you've got to be in what you're doing. I think when doing certain TV shows, I think if you know they have a following, then you do become more aware of that. But I think a film like this, yes, you have to service the potential audience, but I think it's really important that you have to focus on the task in hand. And I think if you honor what you're doing with the part and you honor the script, then that is the best thing you can be doing. You can't really, because anything else is out of your control. I just think we can't focus on the things we can't control.
Absolutely. I always feel like it's funny though, because there's going to be some scenes that people are going to be I'm wondering, I always think about that because I'm a creative as well. I always think about how are people going to react once this is out in the world. But I wanted to kind of ask you about specifically your scenes with Lindsay. I mean, was there game planning sometimes before kind of certain scenes, or was it just kind of the prep before filming and then just kind of going in, so to speak? What were the conversations like in regards to scenes with Lindsay?
Well, we had a good rehearsal process. Lindsay, Janeen and Michael and I, we had, where we got to know each other and got to sort of explore the themes of what we were wanting to put out there in the film. But we had quite a lot of time on set to go. The thing is, if you look at the scenes, not many of the scenes are actually that long. So there's not huge amounts of dialogue. There's not huge amounts of backstory and structure that you need to think about, which meant that actually when we took the time, which we were allowed to just focus on what we needed to, it meant that there was enough space in the days to honor that dialogue properly, I suppose.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and people are going to be able to check out Irish Wish worldwide on Netflix. Isn't that crazy to think about?
I know, worldwide, hey? What a big place.
It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Ed. It was so great chatting with you on Popternative.
Nice one. Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.